Have you ever noticed how a man can disappear without a word, as if everything you shared suddenly meant nothing, and then, one day he shows up again, acting like he just missed you? It's confusing, isn't it? One moment he's distant, cold, and detached. The next, he's sending messages, liking your old pictures, or finding excuses to talk again. But here's the truth few women realize. He doesn't come back because he suddenly matured, or because destiny pulled him toward you again. He comes back when three specific impulses are triggered deep inside his male psychology. Impulses that he doesn't consciously control, but that silently push him back toward you. When a man walks away, it's rarely because he stopped caring completely. Most of the time, he's fighting something inside him, an internal conflict between his ego, his fear, and his desire. He tells himself he's fine without you. He distracts himself, flirts with others, acts like he's moved on. But the truth is, there are psychological triggers that can break even the strongest illusion of detachment. And once those triggers are awakened, no distance, no pride, and no new woman can stop him from coming back. You've probably seen it happen before, not just in your life, but in your friends' stories too. He leaves, he seems free, you heal, you start to move on, and suddenly, he returns. He says things like, "I've been thinking about you," or, "I realized what we had was special." But the real question is, why now? Why after so much silence? Why after acting like you never existed? Because one or more of those three hidden impulses were activated, and when that happens, his emotional control collapses. The first impulse is the ego imbalance. It's when he realizes you're no longer waiting, when your silence becomes louder than his absence. Men have a built-in need to feel wanted, admired, and in control. The moment he feels that control slipping away, that's when the first wave of regret starts to hit. The second impulse is the emotional echo. It's not about love at first. It's about memory. Something you said, the way you laughed, or the way you used to look at him. These things resurface at unexpected times. They strike him like invisible flashbacks, reminding him of how he felt when he was with you. Men are not as emotionally detached as they pretend. Their minds store sensations, moments, and warmth. And when life becomes quiet, those echoes come back, forcing him to face what he tried to bury. And finally, the third impulse, the most powerful of all, is the psychological competition. It's when he senses, even from afar, that you are no longer emotionally available to him, that your attention, your energy, your softness are being directed somewhere else. Maybe he sees a subtle change in your photos, or hears from someone that you've been going out again. Suddenly, his mind starts spinning stories. Who's she seeing? Has she really moved on? That's when the hunter inside him wakes up, not out of genuine love, but out of an instinctive need to win back what once made him feel powerful. These are not random emotions. They're survival mechanisms built into the male psyche. And what's fascinating is that you don't need to chase, text, or beg for them to activate. In fact, the more you do nothing, the more powerful those impulses become. So before you respond to that message or let him back into your life, you need to understand what's really driving his return. Because if you mistake these impulses for love, you might end up reopening a door that only leads you back to the same pain. In the next part of this story, you'll see exactly how those impulses develop, and how a man who once seemed emotionally gone can suddenly find himself unable to stop thinking about you, even when he tries to. Once you understand the psychology behind it, you'll never again be confused when a man walks away and then reappears as if nothing happened. Let me tell you a story that many women quietly live through. Maybe even you have too. There was a woman named Emma. She wasn't desperate, she wasn't weak. She was just deeply in love with a man who once made her feel seen, chosen, and safe. His name was Daniel. When they met, everything felt effortless. He was attentive, charming, and curious about everything she said. He made her laugh, made her feel beautiful without trying. For the first time in a long time, she thought, maybe this is it. Maybe I can finally stop overthinking. But like many men do, once he felt secure, something in him shifted. The good morning texts became shorter, the phone calls faded, the enthusiasm turned into routine, and slowly Emma started feeling invisible, like she was loving for two. She didn't understand what changed. She kept asking herself, did I do something wrong? Was I too emotional? Too available? Daniel began to create distance. He said he was busy, that he needed space. Those words hit her like cold rain. Space? From what? From her love? From the connection they built? She tried to respect it, hoping he would come back clearer, but days turned into weeks, and weeks into silence. And then, one day, she saw it. A picture of him, smiling, with someone else. Her stomach sank. Her mind screamed 1,000 questions, but her heart only whispered one. Why wasn't I enough? That night, she cried. But after that, something inside her broke. Not in a weak way, but in the kind of way that changes a woman. She stopped checking his profile. She stopped answering his random late-night texts. She deleted the old photos and focused on herself, her work, her friends, her life. And little by little, the fog started to lift. Weeks later, something strange happened. He came back. It started small. A, "Hey, how have you been?" message. Then a few likes. Then a voice note saying, "I miss you." At first, Emma felt that familiar rush of emotion, her heart beating faster, her mind spinning with what-ifs. But then she caught herself. She asked, "Why now?" That's when she realized he wasn't coming back because he was ready to love her right. He was coming back because something had been triggered inside him. While she was moving on, his ego started to feel the void. He thought she would always be there, waiting, missing him, watching from afar. But when he noticed her silence, when he saw her energy shift, that first impulse, the ego imbalance, hit him hard. He wasn't ready for the feeling of losing control. He wasn't missing her as a woman yet. He was missing the reflection of himself that she used to give him. The admiration, the comfort, the validation. Then one night, the second impulse kicked in, the emotional echo. He was driving home, alone, the city lights flashing past him. The music on the radio played a song that used to make them laugh together. And suddenly her image appeared in his mind. Her laugh, the way she looked at him, that little expression she made when she was pretending not to be jealous. It all came flooding back like a movie he didn't ask to play. That's how emotional echoes work. They sneak in when the mind is unguarded, awakening what he thought he'd forgotten. And finally, he saw a photo of her online. Not provocative, not forced. She just looked happy, lighter, peaceful. And that's when the third impulse, the psychological competition, exploded inside him. He started asking himself questions he couldn't ignore. Has she moved on? Is she seeing someone? Did she forget me? Men have a strange reaction to this. They often don't want you until they feel someone else might have you. It's not love, it's possession disguised as desire. And that's when Daniel came back. But what he didn't know was that the woman he left was not the same woman standing in front of him now. Emma had changed. She learned that sometimes a man doesn't come back because he wants you. He comes back because he wants to stop feeling replaced. He doesn't miss you at first. He misses the version of himself that felt important when he had you. And that's the dangerous part. Because if you don't understand these impulses, you might mistake them for love and reopen a door that will only hurt you again. When he came back, Emma didn't respond with anger or tears. She smiled, calmly. She listened to his words, but she could hear something deeper. The confusion, the doubt, the ego behind every "I miss you." That's when she realized something powerful. He wasn't returning because she reached out. He was returning because she stopped trying. Her silence had become his mirror. Her peace had become his punishment. And deep down, every man who once took a woman for granted feels that same pull when the three impulses are triggered. He may not understand it, but he feels it. Now, let's go deeper into what really happens inside a man when those three impulses, the ego imbalance, the emotional echo, and the psychological competition, start to awaken. Because understanding this will not only explain why he comes back, but also show you what not to do when he does. Let's start with the first impulse, the ego imbalance. Men are driven by validation more than they'll ever admit. From a very young age, they're taught to measure their worth by control, over their emotions, over their goals, and yes, over the women in their lives. When a man walks away, he assumes he'll still hold emotional power over you. He expects you to react, to text, to chase, or to beg for closure. That response feeds his ego. It confirms that even in absence, he's still important. But when you don't react the way he predicted, something inside him starts to tremble. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects back his own insignificance. It's not your words that shake him. It's the fact that there are no words at all. When he doesn't see your name popping up on his phone, when he notices that you've gone quiet, that you're no longer orbiting around his world, That's when the first crack in his confidence appears. He begins to wonder, did she really stop caring? Has she forgotten me? And that's when the first impulse, ego imbalance, takes hold. It's not love yet. It's confusion mixed with wounded pride. He wants to feel like he still matters. And so he starts testing the waters. A message, a like, a random, "How are you?" Not because he wants you back yet, but because he wants to see if he can. If you respond too quickly, his ego relaxes. But if you stay composed, detached, and mysterious, the imbalance grows stronger. That's the paradox. The less you chase, the more his mind chases you. Now let's move to the second impulse, the emotional echo. Even when he's with someone else, his brain keeps replaying fragments of your presence, the smell of your perfume, the softness of your voice, the tiny habits that made you unique. Men are not emotionally blind. They're emotionally delayed. They often process feelings after they've lost what mattered. At first, they feel relief, freedom, distraction, novelty. But as time passes and silence grows, the absence starts to feel heavier than the relationship ever did. This is where the emotional echo begins to whisper. He might wake up in the middle of the night and think of a random moment with you. He might hear a joke that reminds him of your humor, or find something you left behind and feel that strange mix of nostalgia and guilt. Those flashes aren't random. They're his brain trying to reconcile what he emotionally denied. And this is powerful because men, unlike women, are not naturally trained to face emotional loss. They suppress, they distract, they run, until something small triggers the entire memory. And that's when the emotional echo becomes too loud to ignore. He starts wondering why he's still thinking about you. He starts comparing other women to you even when he tries not to. He might even convince himself that you were different, even though he never treated you that way before. What's happening isn't romance. It's regret dressed as nostalgia. It's his mind craving emotional balance and a balance he once had with you. Now let's talk about the third impulse, the psychological competition. This one is the strongest and the most dangerous because it mixes desire, ego, and fear all at once. Every man, no matter how confident he seems, has a primitive instinct to compete. He doesn't want what's available. He wants what seems valuable. When he believes you're still waiting, he feels calm, secure in his illusion of control. But when he senses that your attention has shifted, when your eyes, your laughter, or your energy seem to belong to something new, his inner alarm goes off. That's when jealousy and possession awaken. He doesn't even need to see you with someone else. Sometimes it's just the way you start glowing again, the way your confidence returns, the way you post something joyful, or the way you no longer seem emotionally reachable. That's when he panics, because in his subconscious, your detachment translates to replacement, and nothing triggers a man's hunter instinct faster than the fear of being replaced. This is why so many men come back right when you finally start to heal. It's not coincidence, it's timing. Your peace threatens his ego, your silence threatens his illusion of control, and your happiness, especially when it no longer includes him, becomes the spark that reignites his obsession. But here's what's crucial to understand. When a man comes back under these impulses, it's not out of emotional growth. It's not because he suddenly realized your worth in a mature way. It's because he's trying to fix an internal discomfort, a pain that has nothing to do with love and everything to do with his ego, his nostalgia, and his competitive drive. If you let him back too easily, those impulses calm down, and so does his motivation. He feels reassured again. His ego rests, and soon the same pattern repeats. Distance, confusion, silence. Because the truth is, a man who returns for his own comfort will leave again the moment that comfort is restored. That's why the most powerful move you can make is not to block him or argue, but to stay grounded in your evolution. Let him feel your absence. Let him feel that your world kept moving. Let him see that the woman he once knew has grown into someone who no longer seeks his validation. When he senses that, when he realizes he can't just walk back into your life like before, that's when those impulses transform into something deeper. That's when, for the first time, he's forced to reflect. Because only when a man loses access to your energy does he start to question his own behavior. The paradox is cruel but simple. The more you pull away to protect your peace, the stronger his pull becomes. But this time, the difference is that you know exactly what's happening, and you'll never confuse impulse with love again. There's something every woman needs to understand about this cycle. When a man disappears and then returns under those three impulses, he isn't coming back from love. He's coming back from discomfort. And if you don't recognize that difference, You'll end up trapped in an emotional loop that keeps stealing your peace. When he reappears, your heart might skip a beat. You remember the warmth, the laughter, the connection. You think, maybe this time he really means it. That hope is natural, because women often love with purpose, while men frequently return out of impulse. The danger lies right there. If you let him in too soon, you soothe the very pain that pushed him to come back. You heal his ego without him ever having to face the reason he lost you in the first place. His guilt fades, his comfort returns, and before long he slips away again, this time colder because he knows he can. This is why so many women relive the same heartbreak with the same man, not because he's powerful, but because his impulses keep being rewarded. The ego imbalance fades once he feels validated again. The emotional echo quiets when he tastes familiarity. The psychological competition disappears once he knows he's still ahead in your heart. And then, just like before, silence, distance, doubt. You go back to questioning yourself. Was it something I said? Maybe I expected too much? But the truth is simpler. You broke your own progress for someone who came back to fix his ego, not your relationship. You need to see what's at stake when you let those doors open again. Because every time you welcome him back too easily, you train him to see your love as renewable, as something he can walk away from and reclaim whenever he's bored, lonely, or triggered. Men don't value what they can predict. They value what they must protect. When you stop responding to those small tests, the late-night text, the "I miss you," the nostalgic voice note, you force him to confront his own emptiness. That's where growth begins, but it's also where you protect your heart. The urgency here isn't about making him chase you. It's about ending a cycle that drains your emotional energy. Because the longer you stay open to men who return only out of impulse, the longer you delay the one who will come out of intention. You have to understand, a man returning doesn't mean you've won. It means he's lost control. And your job isn't to fix that imbalance. It's to maintain your boundaries while he learns to face his own. If you cave into emotion, he feels relief. If you stay composed, he feels reflection. If you move forward, he feels the consequence. And it's only when he truly feels those consequences that his impulses can evolve into genuine awareness. Because men don't grow through comfort, they grow through absence, silence, and the realization that not every woman will give them infinite chances. So when he comes back saying, "I've changed," remember this: words are not transformation. Actions repeated over time are. If you want to see who he really is, don't look at how he leaves. Look at what he does when you no longer make it easy to return. Let him feel the weight of losing access to your softness. Let him face the silence he once imposed on you. Let him question himself the way you once did. That is not cruelty. That is balance. Because there's one more truth about those three impulses. They don't last forever. The ego will calm down once it's fed. The echo will fade once it's answered. The competition will vanish once he feels he's won. But if you stay silent, detached, grounded in your peace, those impulses don't find relief. They transform into reflection, and reflection is what turns an impulsive man into a conscious one, or what separates him from your future entirely. Your urgency now isn't to make him return, it's to protect the progress that made him look back in the first place. Because the moment you choose your peace over his confusion, everything changes. Here's what you must always remember. When a man walks away, he doesn't expect silence. He expects reaction. He expects confusion, tears, questions, explanations. What he doesn't expect, and what shakes his entire ego, is your calm detachment. Because silence from a woman who once loved deeply is louder than any goodbye. When those three impulses, ego imbalance, emotional echo, and psychological competition, begin to awaken in him, they don't just pull him back to you. They expose what he truly fears, losing control over how you see him. That's why your most powerful response isn't revenge, isn't proving you've moved on. It's simply being unavailable to the version of him that left. Because here's the truth. Men come back to the energy that made them feel powerful, but they stay only for the energy that makes them feel responsible. And responsibility is born not from desire, but from respect. If he returns and finds the same woman who accepted less, he'll repeat the same mistakes. But if he returns and finds a woman who has risen, who values her peace more than his promises, something shifts in him. He realizes that your absence changed him more than your presence ever did. That's when love stops being a game. and starts being a choice. You don't need to manipulate or pretend. You don't need to chase or prove your worth, because the moment you understand how those impulses work, you reclaim all the power you once gave away. You realize that his return is not a reward, it's a reaction, and you'll never again confuse reaction with devotion. Let him miss you, but don't let him undo you. Let him wonder if you've moved on, but don't make moving on an act. Make it your truth. Because the kind of woman who triggers a man's deepest impulses isn't the one who waits for him to come back. It's the one who doesn't need to. And if he truly loves you, he will return not from ego, not from nostalgia, not from competition, but from awareness, from the realization that your silence wasn't punishment, it was wisdom. So the next time he reappears asking for another chance, don't ask yourself, does he still want me? Ask, has he grown enough to deserve me? Because sometimes the strongest form of love isn't saying yes again, it's saying nothing at all, and walking toward the peace you built in his absence. The women who understand this truth stop chasing closure. They become it. They stop begging for attention. They embody self-worth. They stop fearing the silence, because they finally realize silence is where a man either rises to meet you or fades back into the past where he belongs. So let him come back if he wants. But this time, let you be the one who decides whether he stays, because your value isn't measured by who returns. It's revealed by who never had the strength to leave you again once they saw your power. And that's when love becomes what it was always meant to be. Not a cycle of leaving and returning, but a place of mutual respect, choice, and peace.